Welcome back to the Flicks Forum podcast with your hosts Jesse Heater and MJ. This week we are looking at Netflix's 35th film, the 2016 comedy Tramps. It's directed by Adam Leon and it stars Callum Turner and Grace Van Patten. Hello. We've gone back in time again to a 2016 film.
Yeah, we have.
You did it. You listened to my feedback from last week.
I did. I cut down the
cutting on the cast. This is relevant for you to only read two names.
It was.
I don't make the choices. I just look at what it says online.
You can make the choice.
You don't have to say all of them.
No, you've watched this film. You have every right to decide who
the big ones
be
are
on there or not.
I don't want to hurt people's feelings, so I don't want to cut people's names out.
Screw them.
Well, you did this week, so well done. I think that's a good.
There's no one else to cut out of this one. So we always kick off this show with a fast flicks where we do a little summary of our thoughts on the film. So MJ kicks off today with what you think about Tramps.
You know, I had a lot of trouble writing a fast flicks for this film, so I'm going to preface it. This is not the best.
No need to apologise. That's okay.
Both caught up in the wrong crowd, Danny and Ellie cross paths during a straightforward crime deal. When Danny stuffs up, he's thrust together with Ellie to fix the problem, and the pair go on a journey of self-discovery as they open each other's eyes to the world around them.
Nice. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I know.
I thought it was good.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Well done. All right.
I struggled with it, though.
I struggled too, and I've changed from what I usually change. It's a little bit different. So
no question?
No question. So while the setup will have you think that this film is about a dodgy switch of briefcases, this is really about the development of relationships, especially between two young lost souls.
Yeah. It is difficult, isn't it? Because I agree. I didn't want to just talk about this happens and this happens, because that's not important.
Yeah. No, the plot literally has nothing to do with this film.
Yeah.
Peter.
For their own different reasons, a young man and woman attempt to carry out a shady deal. The exchange goes haywire, and these two strangers must now work together to get the deal back on track whilst being drawn closer to each other in the process.
Yeah, not bad.
We've all done the same sort of thing. I think we
all watched the same movie, guys.
It's good because I didn't see any other film called Tramps, but that's it.
There is a comment I will make about the plot, though, later on that I had a bit of an issue with.
Ooh, good. I like issues. I'll go get some tissues.
That
was horrible. All right, so
wow.
Let's have a look at anything that we've learned about this film. We always like to see if we can find this one. This one was tricky.
This one did not have a lot of information online about this film.
Not at all. So, did you find anything in the end?
Well, so it first screened in September 2016 at the Toronto International Film Festival, where I feel like a lot of our films came from a few months back. So
I think Netflix cleaned up at TIFF that year.
I love how you say our films now, like we own.
Oh, they're our films.
We have this ownership.
We're basically Netflix,
they do feel like ours, don't they?
So it was acquired by Netflix, in September 2016, released in April 2017.
And in between there, it played a couple of other festivals too. So I played the Rio International Film Festival in October 2016 and then the Tokyo Film Festival in October 2016 too.
Nice.
So when did they acquire the rights, sorry?
September, I believe, 2016.
So before one of those.
It debuted at TIFF on the 10th of September, so it must have been.
Okay. I think they acquired it around then, yeah. I think they got it, it was estimated about $2 million they bought it for.
Good price.
Well, I saw the estimated budget was around $2 million, so just covering the costs.
There we go. He broke even.
So the director, what's his name? Adam Leon.
Yeah, Adam Leon.
Yeah, he was on this trip to Peru with his brother, and they were sitting down having lunch, and then he had this idea that just came to him about two brothers where the older brother convinces a younger brother to fill in for him because he's in jail, and that was how he came up with the story.
I found that weird, because I read that also, and I was just like, that's like not the kind of thing that you would even mention in an interview because it's just boring. So I had to come up with the idea. Well, we're in Peru. I'm like, okay, this is interesting. He's like, and I thought about it. I was like, oh, okay.
So you could have thought about that anywhere.
So writer-director Adam Leon, also writer and director of Give Me the Loot in 2012, which is a 6.6 out of 10 on IMDb, so pretty respectable.
And that was also filmed in and around New York City too.
Yeah, that's right. Because I did see everyone's like, are you sort of like tied to New York City? He's like, no, it's just kind of happened that way.
It's got a link to the Mets baseball.
But
Screw the Mets.
He was a winner at Film Independent Spirits Awards as the Someone to Watch Award. He was a winner at the Sofia International Film Festival for Best Director for Give Me the Loot. And he was winner at South by Southwest Film Festival Grand Jury Prize for Best Narrative Feature, Give Me the Loot. So bloke's got some creds, considering he's still pretty fresh on the scene for the feature film.
And he said there were a few challenges making this film too. And And he said it comes from shooting in the real world. So, they didn't close down train stations.
Yeah.
They just shot. And, the sound issues, people looking at the camera, like going, what's going on sort of thing. So he said, like, especially at the New Jersey and Metro North stations, they ended up, like, hiding in the toilets and the bathrooms, like, just so they could come out with their cameras and just record so people weren't watching them set up scenes or anything.
Real indie.
Yeah, and you could really tell, like, throughout this film, it felt like a lot of guerrilla footage. Like, it was just like they were recording. And I like that feel about that too.
So that scene where Danny finds out that he's got the wrong suit, or he's dropped the suitcase to the wrong person, he gets off the train, he bumps into Ellie on the train station. So apparently, when they kind of run back out onto the street and, like, Danny is losing his mind a little bit, someone called the cops to say that this guy's harassing this woman on the street. People were trying to intervene, saying, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" As he's, like, yelling at her.
That's fantastic.
It ended up taking 40 takes for that scene because people kept interrupting.
And that's the camera's so far away.
Yeah, that's the thing.
It's really high up, isn't it?
It was real.
So
That's fantastic.
Because, I mean, if you saw a camera with it there, you'd probably be like, "Oh, I'll stay out of the way," because they were doing that super long shot.
Well, good on the people for stepping in, thinking this girl is being harassed. Like,
this guy's losing his
that's
mind.
some good public there, like,
I really liked, like, that camera technique too, like, where you're away. It's like you're eavesdropping on their conversation because you see everything else that's happening around. It was really good.
And it's funny to know in hindsight that they're not extras.
Yeah. Imagine that, you rock up to the cinemas like, oh wow, I'm in a movie.
Yeah.
You're like, I saw that girl. So Adam Leon said he recognised very early on that he needed 2 movie stars to make this movie, and if they couldn't find them, then they wouldn't make it. That's how highly he thinks of Callum Turner and Grace Van Patten when they cast them. And he's big on, like, Grace Van Patten. He's like, it's a matter of time. Like, she's a star. Which, obviously you've got a director backing in his cast, but
that's interesting.
We talked about this film only really having two main actors in it, and they do carry the plot pretty well from start to finish.
Interesting.
So, consensus?
Critical consensus. Wow.
Yeah, wow, why?
We talk about Rotten Tomatoes and what we think of that, but 95%.
Is it really?
From 22 reviews.
That's critics, yeah. Okay.
Critics, yeah. So the audience score was a lot worse. That was only 69% from almost 600 ratings.
6.5 on IMDb?
Yeah, from 3.5. And then a 3.2 on Letterboxd from 2,200.
Same sort of score.
So, yeah, kind of sitting around kind of that 6 out of 10-ish.
Except for the critics. The audience were all on the same page and the critics were a bit higher.
Critics absolutely loved it.
That's still 6.5 out of 10.
6 out of 10. It's
good score.
That's a very good score.
And realistically, to get a positive rating on Rotten Tomatoes, you only need 59% or above or something. So they could have all put it at 60% and it still would have been 95%.
That's a fair point, yeah. They might have thought it was all 60%. That's what's wrong with that rating system.
So let's be fair, this is like a 65% kind of film, judging from everyone's reactions.
Oh, yeah, well, tell us, what are your thoughts then? What are your early thoughts?
Well, the first thing I noticed is when I was on Netflix that I had a 98% match with this film.
Really?
It's from all the rom-coms that you watch.
Well, that's the thing. Like, so many of the Netflix original films that we watch, because they're quite broad and a lot of them are completely not what I would have watched, I get quite low scores. Because I had a theory initially that Netflix puts these numbers really high because they just want you to watch it. Mm-hmm. So I keep seeing these numbers quite high. But then I've seen a few low ones recently. But then I saw this, 98%. I'll be honest, I wanted to like it more than I did. Okay. The crime side of it and that whole plot that was there that didn't need to be there, but they still put it there, didn't really work for me. Whether it be like the crime bosses trying to meet each other at the end, like, or just the stakes they try to create, I never cared for that side of it, which is fine. I don't think you're really supposed to. But I think there was just too much emphasis on a plot that didn't need to be. Like, and one of my favorite films is Before Sunrise, Before Sunset, Before Midnight. This was like a really poor man's Before Sunrise. And I read a review on Letterboxd saying, like, finally, this is Before Sunrise with a plot. I'm like, no. What makes Before Sunrise so good is it doesn't have a plot and it doesn't need a plot.
Yeah.
So I didn't mind it. I just sort of tried a little bit too hard and missed a few little areas. I also didn't like the IMDb plot and one of the posters on it. It felt like really mainstream for what the movie was actually trying to say. I think the IMDb plot is something like, 2 people fall in love in New York or something like that.
Which I didn't think really was
it's not what it's about.
Thing with the movie, yeah.
So, they get that wrong quite a bit. So.
I have a question for you. After you say, for example, we watch a film and for this podcast even on Netflix, and you give it a 3 out of 5 or whatever. After you've watched it, do you stay on Netflix and do the thumbs up, thumbs down?
No, I don't.
Because that can impact on your percentage too. So for example, I always, if I don't like the film, I always give it a thumbs down because then
So
it's not not to give you films like that.
I'm still watching on an old TV where I've still got the star system, so I still rate it. So I still rate the stars on Netflix of that movie. And when this movie came up for me, I think this was about a 1-star movie for me. So I think it was telling me that I wasn't going to like this movie.
So it gives you like a star match.
Yeah,
I got upstairs. I got stars on Netflix, and downstairs I've got the thumbs up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the movie will come up and will already have pre-filled out stars on if they think I'm going to like this movie based on other movies I've watched and how I've rated other movies.
Well, that is my next project.
Yeah, because that'll start changing your percentages too.
Yeah. Not that I don't read into the percentages.
Yeah.
Really
But what they do is if you don't do the thumbs up, thumbs down, they just go based on your viewing history.
Yeah, of course. So every
Netflix film we've watched, they're going to say, "Oh, you've watched it."
He loves Netflix originals. This guy,
he just loves Netflix.
Whatever we pump out, this guy wants to watch it. He's seen like 35 of them.
So,
did you like it?
Well, the opening reminded me of the fundamentals of caring straight away. There's literally this Danny guy's in the kitchen, and there's all these quick little shots of these innate objects and him making this dish, and it gave me these memories of this. And I think that
the guy's gambling.
Oh, no, you got a bit too high expectations.
Nah, I think that that connection straight away made this film a fun breeze for me.
Oh, okay.
Okay, interesting.
Breeze is what I've said.
Yeah.
I thought hard on that word. Hit up.
That's fair. I like the breeze.
I actually like this movie.
It's a breezy.
There was kind of this. I wanted to be more invested in kind of the shady deal scene because that was definitely kind of more my area. So I really wanted to be more involved in that. So there was a couple of kind of big things wrong in my opinion with the movie I didn't really like. But overall, I found this movie quite enjoyable. I really liked it. I actually watched this movie with my wife. She tries to watch it a few every and then, and so we're watching this movie. We didn't actually speak for the whole movie. The movie finished, the credits are rolling, and I was sitting there going, "Yeah, that was pretty good." I'm like, "Hey, what'd you think of it?" And she was just, "It was shit." Oh. And I was sitting there like, "Really?" And she was amazed that I liked it. I was amazed that she didn't like it.
I must admit, I'm amazed that you like it.
So
I was expecting you to hate this film.
You probably want the fundamentals of caring
So I was really excited to come here to be like, am I weird for liking this movie? Did you guys like it? Because I watched it with my wife and she hated it. So I'm like, no. It wasn't amazing that there were a few kind of big things that didn't like about it. But overall, I enjoyed this film.
Good, I'm glad.
I enjoyed this film.
Maybe since we've been doing this podcast, your appetite or something about your film
expanded. I've expanded. Watched a lot of different movies that I would never normally watch.
Maybe you can watch the first 20 minutes of Fundamentals of Caring again, and in your new eyes. This is
never going to get
Peter's story arc. This is great character development.
Yeah, we'll see.
Well, I'm going to jump to one. Like we usually do questions at the end, but I want to jump to a question now because I've got this written in my notes. Heath, is this a heist film?
No.
Well, that's what I was trying to think of a word for like crime or something when I was putting it together my notes, and I almost said like this heist that they were doing.
It was a deal.
But then I was so against doing heist because I knew Peter would be like, it's not a bloody heist film.
They didn't rob anyone.
I knew the answer was going to be no, but about 4 reviews that I said spoke about it.
Heist?
Really?
I almost went for the heist word as well.
Yeah.
I agree.
I'm going to go yell at people online then and be like, here's some heist movies to go and watch.
They obviously stole it from someone at the start.
Yeah.
Get on Reddit. You can yell at people there.
This is not a heist film. Neither's coin heist.
Oh, God. Sorry. What else can we talk about? Some characters? We want to talk about some characters?
Well, one of the reasons I think I did like this movie so much was for Ellie, Grace Van Patten. I thought she was awesome.
You and the director, Adam?
I think she was a great actress. I had never seen her before. Looked on stuff, but yeah, I'd never seen anything before. I thought she was a great actress, and I really enjoyed her character. I thought she was really good.
She's very pretty. I think the more and more I watched her...
Yeah, she was.
She was actually my IMDb. Because
she was mine too.
Because she's in Maniac, which
not Elijah Wood,
Jonah Hill and Emma Stone.
Jonah Hill.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah,
TV.
Which you liked that one, didn't you?
Yeah, it was good, and she was in that, and I liked her in that as well, which was the first time I had seen her. I thought she was really good. I also I thought the character for a film that is so based on the character connections and building these just two characters. That's all we really get to know. I felt like we've seen this character too many times before.
Yeah.
She's looking for an out. She doesn't trust anyone. She doesn't want anyone to get too close to her. But slowly or surely, the one nice, genuine guy who pops up into her life breaks her down.
Are you talking about Selena Gomez in Fundamentals of Killing?
Oh yeah, I can see all that as well.
That's dead serious. That sounded very much
true.
like it.
It is true, but like it just I think a film that was so focused on these two characters. This character I've seen before. Like she was fine, and I believed her and all that sort of stuff, but it was nothing groundbreaking.
I thought it was like hard not to like both of them.
Yeah, I agree. I like them
And,
both.
you know, each had their own quirks, and you know they were the positive light in this world that was surrounded by lesser people, like you know Darrens and your Scotts and those others that weren't very nice.
His brother Darren, he was a dick. Just what a bad person. Don't want to swear anymore. But
I'd like to know the true story as to why he was in jail, because I did not believe that he was in there for smashing windows.
No, it was definitely.
But he got out the next day, so it couldn't have been that bad.
Yeah, I thought that was quite funny.
Yeah, Danny was sweet and caring and completely caught up in the wrong world somehow. He actually did have probably kind of nice character development, but you only really recognise that in the final scene, I reckon.
Yeah.
He spends the whole film doing what people tell him to do.
Yeah.
And even Ellie, when we first meet Ellie, she's a little bit of a follower, but as soon as she meets him, she just kicks into gear and just, I wrote the words, she alphas his ass. Like,
yeah, she does.
Straight away,
does.
she's just like, I've got you covered, mate.
Yeah. She knows that she's got kind of the street knowledge over him, and she knows that I guess if he leads, it's going to fall apart even more. So,
but it's kind of cute that it's at the very end where he's like, you know what, I'm going to do what I want to do.
Yeah,
and so that was nice. This was a nice film, nice characters, nice, and it's a terrible word to use when you're critiquing something, but that's kind of where it fits.
You made mention before about how the director wanted these 2 stars, and I liked that. I thought it was cast well because I thought I wasn't very familiar with either of them.
Yeah,
very much so, and I thought it worked really well in that case, because I feel like if they were 2 people that I had have known, I probably wouldn't have been into it as much, because I would have been comparing them to previous roles I'd been in.
Yeah, you focus more on their performance.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah. But I did think that Grace Van Patten, she reminded me a lot of Cheyenne Woodley. Just the way she acts and the mannerisms.
I don't
and
like Cheyenne Woodley.
You don't like her?
Nah. But anyway, it does.
Yeah, I don't know. She just reminded me that whole film. I was like, very much. Yeah. Anything else you want to talk about the cast, the characters, or we look at some scenes?
I'm happy to go to scenes.
Yeah, I'm exhausted with. No, sorry, not exhausted.
Oh, wow.
I have exhausted. I have exhausted my comments on the characters.
Different meaning of the word. All right,
I'm not exhausted. I'm very much enjoying this conversation. Let's continue.
MJ, seeing as you're not exhausted,
I'm so fresh.
Give us some of your standout scenes.
So the scenes that I liked. Again, this probably less of a film where you're gonna, really pick out like scenes, because it all kind of flowed into one quite nicely.
Yes, absolutely.
Quite a breezy watch. No, it's a good use of the word. I can understand why you thought about it and came to that conclusion and you want to stick with it. I smiled for the first time when I realised that he took the wrong purse. Just because it's the first time I kind of got interested in him or in anything else, because I didn't quite care for this. I won't call it heist, but I didn't quite care for this job that they were doing. But when he did the wrong thing, I was like, "Oh, this guy's going to struggle dealing with this," and I like that. And then probably that scene after that, where they were walking around, catching the train to sort of the suburbs of New York, and going to those nice houses. That was what the film's about, right? That's when you first meet them, and you realise, well, you don't realise, but you notice that a lot of this film's going to be their characters connecting.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I enjoyed that when I thought it was going to be kind of a one-off. I felt the dialogue was trying a little bit too hard, that I would have liked to see that been a bit more, I don't know, philosophical or anything like that. It didn't quite hit me, but I like that scene. I generally like those kind of scenes in films. So that was quite good, and they did that a lot. But I think that was what was missing for me, is that just didn't quite pack the punch I was hoping it to in all those scenes, because I do like that kind of stuff generally in films. And the only other scene that I've got is how Rebecca Vargas touches his penis in the 10th grade for the special prize.
The special prize.
I like the fact that the dialogue just kind of went nowhere. Like there was all of a sudden they're talking about this crazy story that it's funny and it's fun and probably somewhat relatable for a lot of people. Everyone's got that kind of 10th grade story. And I just like the fact that he named her like full Rebecca Vargas. Touched his penis.
That was the one part about it that I didn't like.
I can understand why you didn't.
I didn't like that conversation. I didn't like her conversation about her first sort of sexual encounter too. Like, I just thought that with the flow of the way these characters were going, like, made that big deal about, oh, do you think I'm a whore sort of thing if I'd slept with 100 people, blah, blah, blah. And then he has his story. And I get that it was highlighting the difference between the two. I think, like, they've both had bad lives, but maybe her bad life she's had to grow up a lot more than his, where his is just like, oh, you touched me, whereas,
Yeah.
So did you like her then coming back at the end and telling his mum her name?
Yeah, Rebecca Vargas. That's right. We went to school together. Remember that?
Yeah.
Good one.
Very cool. Yeah.
Good touch. Go ahead.
So just, I guess, to expand from your first one, the train station scene, I like that whole the whole exchange where Danny first gets there and he's just so awkward. He should not be making this drop. He's kind of smiles at the girl. He's got no idea what to do.
It does it shockingly, because if you were just staring at someone on a train station, they would just look at you and kind of nod.
Yeah.
Like, exactly what this girl does.
So I like the whole thing where he's really just got no clue. He shouldn't be there. So he picks up the bag and kind of his reaction when he sees the girl that's sitting there and realizes, oh, that was the drop. So I like that whole kind of train station scene. As I said, there wasn't kind of any scenes in this. I thought the music was really good throughout the movie. I really enjoyed a lot of the music.
Was pretty good.
And I also liked when Danny exchanges at the end the briefcase with the lady, and it's kind of cut up as he's talking on the phone to the guys, just how excited and amazed that Danny was that this deal was just so simple to do. He was just like, we just went up to her and exchanged the bag. I like that whole thing. Just, I guess it shows us how naive he was to kind of this, supposed to be a shady world, and how, he was just amazed that he could get this done so easily. I really enjoyed that part of it. That's it for me.
I have a couple of things. I really liked or enjoyed the opening with Danny cooking, and he was setting up those 3 meals and the 3 plates, and just sort of gave you that expectation of that anticipation. I was like, oh, who's this going to be for? And then, like, you work out it's his crappy brother who never does anything for the family, and I just liked that setup, as well as that setup for him with that's what he likes to do. He loves to cook. Cooking's
it looked impressive too. I don't know much about good cooking, but it looked like he knew what he was doing.
It looked like some good food.
Yeah.
They sold that well.
And then, like, the first time we got to meet Ellie, and she's in the bar with Scott, and he's telling her, this is the job that you've got to do. And the camera just kept cutting between her face, he's talking, and she's just staring at these 3 girls that are just sitting there as friends, having a good time. And it's just like highlighting that what she's missing out on, what should be, this nice part of growing up is like hanging out with your mates, just having a good time. And she's, going in and out of this conversation with this guy who's like, not the nicest sort of guy.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, I liked that. And I really like, whenever most of the times when she's on the train by herself, she's reading a book. And it just sort of showed...
And when she's with him, she's reading a book.
Exactly. She's reading a book. And it was, it followed up nicely. When they break into the house and Danny's sitting on this computer trying to look it up, she's not even worried about that, because she's just looking at these bookshelves in that room. She's just walking around wandering, looking at, and just looking at all these books, and just sort of showed that innocence of her as a character. And I really enjoyed that. That sort of, they didn't leave things and then not follow through with them.
Yeah, it's a real inner innocence for her though.
And the same sort of thing where, at the start she's always jumping the train stations because she doesn't have a ticket, and then even though they rob the house and steal some money, she goes and buys a ticket. The first thing, like, I was like, yeah, okay, I just liked it that that happened. I liked the awkward silences between Danny and her, like wherever they were traveling. That music kicked in that you talked about that you liked, and it just played out for them to develop their relationship. They didn't need dialogue because they were traveling together, they were moving, which was good. I liked Danny's constant worries. It just felt normal. Like, he worried about everything. Everything. Like, people recognizing him, swapping the wrong bag, being abandoned by Ali, opening someone's mail in the letterbox, the alarm going off when they sleep in the pool shed. It's just like, and he's not afraid to say it. Like, he's not this sort of this brand new girl that he's just met, and he's happy to say it out loud. Yeah, I thought that was really nice for a character. What about the lizard? What did you think about the lizard? Ricky the lizard.
Yeah.
So everyone has a Ricky in their life. So Ricky for her is the boyfriend in not Philadelphia,
Pittsburgh.
The boyfriend in Pittsburgh, and I thought it was a nice little analogy, and it sort of leads to this scene where they're looking at this lizard in the tank, and she's just watching him, and it's sort of like you see this realization on her face that she's starting to understand him a little bit. And I just liked that. That was, for me, was that turning point for their sort of relationship. Sorry, I've got a couple more.
No, go, man. Go.
I liked the nice, quick movement from it being about what they needed to do, like which was the drop, to about them as characters. I thought that was done really quickly and really well. Like that drop thing was over and done with quickly, and then it was just about them, really.
Yeah.
Apart from a couple little check-ins with characters, it was about them.
Yeah, it was.
I like the awkward scene where he's trying to cuddle her, or wants to cuddle her to keep her warm.
Body warm.
Yeah, I thought that was nicely done. I like that we didn't learn Ellie's name until about halfway through the film. You didn't know her name until about halfway through the film, and they make a big play on that because on the train track he's asking her about her name.
Yeah, and
Scott never refers to her by her name.
Yeah.
And we don't learn it until I think Scott picks up the voicemail from her and says, "Oh, Ellie's tried to call me." I'm like, "Bang, we know her name now."
Yeah.
I liked that. I thought it was a nice little, because she was no longer this character that you didn't know much about, because now her and Danny were closer.
Yeah.
I liked that. Little, like, he shaved his moustache for her. I thought that was cute.
I didn't even bloody notice his moustache.
he didn't shave the moustache. He shaved everyone else around
kept the
it to
moustache.
try and highlight that little wispy moustache even more.
I'm watching him grab the shaving cream. I'm like, what do you have to shave off?
So I like that he did those little things for her, but I also like that he wasn't completely honest with her. Like he was happy to give these little lies. Like he told her, I work in an Italian restaurant. Well, as far as we know, he worked in a burger joint.
Yeah, he did.
And when he answers,
Showing himself up a bit.
yeah, and answers the phone, and it's his brother, and he's like, "Oh, it's my boss." I just
Yeah.
like that. Even though he's got this relationship with her, he's happy to drop these little lies.
And he ditched her.
He did ditch her in the end, yeah. And the last 5 minutes of the film, like, there are all these nice shots of just people walking the streets, people getting on the train, and you see Danny smile, like, and he's just walking down the street with these people. It's like he's finally feeling normal. He's finally fitting in because he's found this person that he gets along with and connects with.
I do like the idea of life happening around you and a really big, poignant, important moment of your life is happening and no one else knows or cares. I like that. It's always a really nice thought, and did it well at the end, that final scene at the train station where...
What did you think about the kiss?
I liked it.
Liked it?
Yeah. I was good.
I wouldn't have cared if it was a proper big romantic kiss
Finish
either.
it.
They kind of earned it. Like,
Yeah, I kind of liked it that it wasn't just this we live happily ever after. It was sort of like gives you want to see a bit more of these characters and be like, okay, what's their next adventure? Where are they going to go to?
Yeah.
I still felt like she was settling with him. Like,
She was.
She's like, "Oh, he's all right."
She was definitely.
And I liked at the end of the credits, so the songs were played, and then the last couple of minutes of the credits was just the sounds of that train station over the credits, just of that final scene. Yeah, nice finish.
I didn't stick with the credits that long.
did you dislike any scenes, Jesse?
Well, I didn't like the sexual comments.
yeah.
And I didn't like the scene with Ali with the briefcase where she delivers it to the lady. That to me was a little bit off-putting. So, she finally goes to that house and sits down with the lady in her room, and the woman makes these comments about, men make things more intricate because they think it's more impressive, and says to Ali, you should never marry a man that doesn't love his mother. And as an audience, we know that Danny will do whatever his mother says, but as an audience, we never saw the two of them talk about that at all. And I didn't like that impliedness about it when everything else was so evident, I guess.
Okay.
That was the only thing that sort of put me off a little bit, because I was like, if they'd had a quick little conversation, like obviously we knew that he tried to talk to her about her family and she didn't want a bar of it, didn't talk about it, so he didn't open up about his family, and then it's just assumed that she knows, and I don't know, I just didn't like it.
Yeah, true. I get what you're saying. Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't like at the start when the mum just told him to help out his brother on the phone.
Yeah.
That was a bit.
I mean, they kind of quickly set it up as the fact that these guys are kind of like bookies almost. They get people coming in and putting bets on and whatnot. So crime kind of felt like it was part of this family and the way they did things. But just the way she was just like, huh? Oh, no, help out your brother. You do this dirty deed. And I was like, okay, like, just, I guess it hadn't been set up well enough for me to think that was going to be normal.
Yep.
That was a bit...
Okay, well, that was all
that's
dislike.
fine, yeah.
So I had two kind of big ones that didn't work for me, and they're both involving the briefcase and the briefcase kind of deal, because I guess from the start I was in on that briefcase deal and I wanted this.
Because you like heists, yeah.
Because I like heists.
And this was a good heist.
So I guess originally, I'm not sure what you guys thought, I thought he was doing a drug deal. I thought one briefcase drugs, one briefcase money, and they're swapping them. And it just became a bit obvious far too quickly that there were just no stakes involved for me, because I guess like when Ali first calls and it's like, oh, hey, something stuffed up, but we're going to fix it and we'll get it to you later today. And the guys are just kind of like, yeah, okay, yeah, that's fine. It's kind of like, well, hang on, if this isn't a drug deal then, because these mobsters would be, I'll just call them mobsters, would be like, oh, putting all this pressure on them and stuff. And then suddenly it's, now we'll get it to you like in the morning. And again, it's just kind of like, oh yeah, that's okay. So it's kind of like, all right, there's just absolutely no stakes to do with this briefcase deal. We've kind of gone past this point of the plot, that what was even there for in the first place. So I guess that was okay, because you then focused more on the relationship between Ali and Danny. But I guess I got really in on that briefcase deal at the start. So it was a bit flattening for me to be like, okay, well, this is just kind of going nowhere in the end.
So when they revealed... Like, I didn't think they were ever going to reveal actually what was in the briefcase.
Yeah.
Was that a letdown that they actually did reveal?
I didn't even care.
I didn't care, because I was past the point of caring what was in there, because I was just like, it's not that important. These guys aren't putting pressure on them. I thought, there'd be movies where the guys would be beating up the brother because, he stuffed it up, there was no urgency to them.
Well, they obviously went,
briefcase to them. So I was just like, it's not going to be that important.
So I agree. Like, there were absolutely no stakes. And you never actually felt like, A, they weren't going to be successful, or B, they were going to get in trouble for not being successful. But that was okay, because I was aware that the film wasn't about the plot, and it was about the relationship. But then it got me thinking, and why are we putting this much effort into the plot?
Exactly.
So the plot kind of got in the way for me a little bit.
I completely agree with that.
That was my beef on the plot. Like, the plot was fine. It was. And I knew that it wasn't, the be-all and end-all for the film. But then it was probably too much that it needed to be.
Yeah,
and I guess in your sense, when you get into the plot, you're probably left a bit dissatisfied.
Absolutely.
I like it. I paused it and went back when she opened the briefcase to try and work out what it was. Because she made this big deal about your lawyer said you're never going to get it.
Art piece, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Art piece. So
and it's just showing the difference between rich side of town
and then the kids that we've spent the last hour and a half with.
Yeah, and then so the big one as well for me, they ended up with the wrong briefcase.
Yeah, but
they gave her the briefcase that they started with. There was never an exchange.
But there didn't need to be, because the other girl that they were going to give the briefcase was just going to give it to her.
Yeah, so they were passing on that briefcase.
So it didn't matter in the end, because the girl that they were doing the deal with still had the cash, and then they got the cash.
Just the whole thing for me was just exchange, and he gets the briefcase back, and they never do the exchange, and so it's the briefcase that he started with gives to her. I'm like, well, why did in the first 5 minutes just give the briefcase?
Just to deliver that briefcase to her in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. Just because they never actually did the exchange, I was like, you've given her the briefcase that you started with. This whole thing.
Probably because that woman couldn't be seen giving cash when she's being investigated or something.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, that is.
So the lady that was left on the train station though. Does she not get her cut in it?
I don't know. Yeah, what happened there?
Was she just friends with the lady?
Who knows in the end? But as they were kind of walking up to give it, I'm like, no, hang on. This is the briefcase you started with. There was no exchange. So that part I didn't like.
Yeah, I kind of thought of that as well. But
that's it for me though.
So
it was all my dislikes around the briefcase.
Have a look at what the themes or the ideas behind it are.
Yeah, you go, Jesse. I think you kind of enjoyed this.
You're the things, man.
More than us.
Yeah, probably. I liked this whole movement through space that leads to change. So
they didn't go to space, mate.
That's like as bad as my joke at the start. So their movement through buses, through trains, through running, through walking, riding bikes. It was continuous this whole film, and them continually moving is them continually moving towards this change or towards this end where they're going to be different people or try something new. And I liked that. I thought.
Yeah, I like what you're saying.
Yeah. Tramps, like the title again. I need to look at the title, because a tramp is someone who travels on foot from place to place in search of something better.
Oh, there you go.
So there you go. So it's pretty good. I read lots of stuff online saying, "Oh, what a horrible title! What's the title got to do with anything?" And I'm like, pretty good title.
People probably associate it with a slut.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's what I thought we were going to be watching.
That's what I thought when I first saw the movie called Tramps. I was like, oh, this is an interesting one.
I was like, Lady and the Tramp straight away, and I was like, oh, Lady and the Tramp's about a nice dog and a bad dog, a poor dog.
Boy, with your little Disney.
Yeah, I know. Horrible connection.
I was not thinking of that at all.
And then it's had this, the haves versus the have-nots, the rich versus the poor. Neither of them had an ideal living situation, and they both wanted something better. She wanted to get away from this abusive Ricky dude. He wanted to get away from his crime family. I guess
understandable.
His bookie mum and
and the whole thing too, living a little. She said that to him. She's like, you need to live a little, wanting to fit in and just give everything a crack.
Yeah.
I liked that.
Pay your phone bill, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. That would have fixed a lot of problems. Someone have a working phone. Don't throw the SIM card down the drain. Yeah. For $1,500, it's a big scheme to throw a whole phone card.
He seems to at least have a steady-ish job. Like he should be getting enough for his phone.
Yeah.
I noted the mischief versus danger side of things. So as we talk about with the stakes never feeling high, it was kind of, and this was part of the charm of the film, was just watching these kids, for lack of a better term, just getting themselves into a bit of mischief. I mean, they blatantly robbed a family, but
They sure did. What was with the daughter at that house?
so that was one of my
That was strange.
let's talk about this, because my question was, how come the girl said it's in the living room and then just walked away?
Yeah.
Like,
And don't let the dog out.
don't let the dog out.
And then where was the dog?
There's obviously something else that goes on in that house.
Did I miss a payoff with like what was supposed to be in the living room that they?
Nah, no. They didn't say it or show it.
I think it's insinuating that the dad's not a good guy and he does dodgy things.
Yeah. It's just like, okay. Yeah. I'm sure, I bet you there's going to be a thing where it's not the briefcase, but there'll be something there. They're like, oh no, this bag of drugs isn't for us, or okay, cool. That's fine then.
Good. All right, so what do we take from the film?
It's poor man's Before Sunrise.
Okay, yeah.
You should both watch it.
I just thought the movie was fun.
Yeah.
It was just a fun watch for me.
I feel like I've said this a lot lately, but the soundtrack for me it worked wonders.
So, the music was great.
There were stages where, like I said before, there was very little dialogue, but I liked that. And then just the soundtrack kept the film moving nicely. I thought that was good. And I think this is the perfect date night film. So I think you could definitely go. Yeah.
Do you think it's a little bit indie for a mainstream date night? Well, Heater's wife thought it was rubbish.
Rubbish.
What does she know about me?
No, she said it was shit.
She said it was shit. She went shit.
Okay, language warning on this episode.
Wow, we're young.
Apologies.
No, I think definitely a nice little art housey film for sure.
Very, yeah. But it is, if you said, hey, do you want to come watch this romantic, quirky, well, if you said, do you want to come watch this good date night film, and you put that on, I reckon a lot of mainstream film audiences would be like, oh, that.
Yeah, wouldn't say it was a mainstream.
No, but I'd much it's probably me speaking, but I'd much prefer to sit there and watch a film like this than to All the Boys I've Loved Before.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Yes, but I think
that's the point that you're making.
Yeah,
that's the point you're making. Yeah,
but three of us can have a date night.
Sounds
watching
good.
These sorts of films.
Next rom-com that comes up, we should watch together.
I'm up for that. We should do that.
Yeah.
We should live stream it.
Yeah, record as we go.
It'll be like Gogglebox.
It'll be the longest episode you've ever
We
heard.
should probably have this conversation off air.
But we should do it.
Yeah.
All right, I want to talk about my IMDb, where I looked up someone on IMDb. So you guys both did already, didn't
I know,
you?
just like the way you said my IMDb, where I looked up someone on it.
Yeah, well, I need to make sure people know what IMDb means.
It is. That's a main theme of our podcasts.
So I looked up the Danny guy, Callum Turner, because he looked real familiar to me. And he plays this small role in Assassin's Creed, the movie. I don't know if anyone's seen it. He plays his character Nathan, real small, but that was where I recognised him from.
There you go.
Yeah.
I've done mine.
Yeah.
Mine was same as MJ's. It was Ali, because I'd never
She's
seen
really
her
good in Maniac
before.
too. She plays Olivia, who's the girl that Jonah Hill has a thing for and worries that his parents paid her to talk to him. But she's really good in that too. I'm going to keep an eye on her.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. She was very good.
I think she's like 22 or something, or was 22 when she made this or something. Any questions?
Yeah, so as if he got on a bus and she caught that bus by running down the street.
But that's the whole thing of the movie. They've run and they're always running to where they need to go.
I know, but like
It's a bit far-fetched.
I've been on slow buses and slow trams and whatnot before, and you ain't catching it.
Nah, it's a bit far.
I did like the fact that he just kind of quit as soon as she got it. He's like, "That's yours."
Yeah.
And just left.
I was a little bit surprised because
done
I
with
thought
it.
maybe he just switched to the other side of the bus so he didn't have to look at her. But then you see, he's walked off the bus. I was like, oh, okay. I wanted to know. So this was from them. They're like, why do parents give pets that die so young to kids? Does it let them be sad about something small before something really sad happens? I never thought about pets like that. I don't think parents go in buying, I'm going to buy you a goldfish because it's going to die and I'm going to see you upset and then you'll be more prepared for life after that.
I have a friend who they have, I guess he's like a 1 or 2 year old son, and their dog is like 7 or 8 already. And they've already spoken about, like, I hate the fact that he's going to be like this really young age when the dog passes away, and like it is something that you would think about. It's a cool.
Well, you need to talk to your friends and tell them that, hey, watch this movie.
Yeah.
It's a good thing. It sets them up for life.
This one line that you might miss.
I think I might just buy my kid a bunch of flowers and watch it die over 2 days and be like, there you go. Don't worry about a pet. Who needs a pet?
Yeah, because every time you flowers, that is really dealing with death.
Yeah, not sure about the attachment that they'll get to the flowers that they would get to a
They
pet.
can sleep with the flowers, put them on their pillow. I don't know. any other?
Very strange.
Yeah, you didn't think that went through.
No, I didn't have that written down.
I'm not surprised.
Are we ready to wrap this up?
Well, the only did my dog bark section.
Oh,
So I was on really high alert when they said don't let the dog out. I'm like, this is going to have a big payoff, whether it's now, whether it's in 5 minutes. There's going to be a big dog somewhere, and it never happened. So the dogs were fine.
Good. All right, let's wrap it up. We give our films that we discuss a rating out of 5 and then add them up to work out an overall total. Heater, kick us off. What did you say? Think?
So yeah, as I said, I enjoyed this movie, and I found it a fun and easy watch. I thought it was a great performance from the two leads, particularly Grace Van Patten. I thought she was great. It did have some issues kind of with the briefcase for me and those kind of plots that we discussed, but overall, it was a pretty decent movie. I give it 3.
Awesome.
Out of 5.
What did you give The Fundamentals of Caring?
Fundamentals of Caring has got 3. Okay. So this was better than Fundamentals. Sorry, no. The Fundamentals of Caring was better than this.
Better than this.
Yes,
okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Would you like me to go?
Yeah, sure. Go for it. Kind of balanced. Just do it.
I thought it was a cute little film. There was a nice amount of small twists and turns, and whilst I enjoyed the sweet naivety of the characters eventually sparking into a bit of a romance, it was probably the plot that stopped me from truly getting thrust into it. The plot took me away from the relationship and jolted me back into the whole I'm watching a story mode. 2.5 stars.
All right. I'm reading what I've written here, and I'm worried that this is going to sound horrible based on some of my comments already. So I've gone, I was along for the ride on this one, pardon the pun.
Yes!
Because I put effort into that. I was like, it's all about riding buses and trains.
I hope you got a breeze pun in you somewhere. Yeah.
I thought this was just like a nicely made movie. It was a nice little movie that I didn't know I needed, but I'm glad I did. Perfect casting. Thought it was exceptionally well made, so 3.5 out of 5 for me. So, Heater, what does that give us out of 5?
Gives us a 3 out of 5.
Ooh, that's not too bad. 3 out of 5. Good. So, we're on social media. We pop a question up every week. This week, the question is this the start of something good for Danny and Ali?
To be honest, they're not lasting.
Yeah, I put that because I was like thinking, I think Ali's going to get sick of him very quickly.
I think I was thinking this. For some reason, now you bring that up, I feel I must have been thinking about this after I watched it.
So it's a good question then.
Yeah, true. Exactly.
Question, yeah, because some people will probably think they are.
Yeah. I just can't see it lasting.
I can't see it lasting either.
Nah, me either.
Yeah, she'll grow out of him.
I don't even reckon they'll make the bus trip. So, as usual, that'll be on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We are at Flix Forum. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, wherever you can find good podcasts. Subscribe. Hit that subscribe button if you can. Download the episodes.
Definitely give us 5 stars. If you got a chance to rate it, this means a lot to us.
It sure does. Next week, we are back again for another film. It's a 2017, so we're jumping back in time. And I've got a huge cast list for you guys today. It's
Here we go.
The crime film called Small Crimes. Oh, what a surprise. It's directed by Evan Katz. It stars Nikolai Coster-Waldau, who is...
I'm excited. He's Jamie Lannister.
Jamie Lannister from Game of Thrones.
Oh, right.
Also stars Gary Cole, Molly Parker, Macon Blair.
Macon Blair.
Macon Blair from...
Director of I Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore. Did I get that right?
Yes, you got that right. Well done.
Pat Healy.
Pat Healy was in... he was definitely in one of the films we've done as well.
And the next one's been in a film we've done too, Jackie Weaver.
Oh, this is like a Netflix homage.
She was in the Most Hated Woman in America.
Yeah.
And then Robert Forster as well. Wasn't she? No.
I don't think we've seen
Jackie Weaver.
Jackie Weaver. No, that was... I can't think of her name now, but it wasn't Jackie Weaver.
I thought it was her, but that's right. My good. So, no, it wasn't. It was... Yes. I'm an idiot. So, if you can watch that film, get on board. Hopefully we'll have the cast down pat by then.
That's a good cast.
It's a very good cast.
I'm really excited to watch it.
Well, thanks for chatting.
Melissa Leo.
Melissa Leo, yeah, Jackie. Yeah, there you go. They're in the same movie together, The Fighter. That's why I've got the confusion. That's why I've got the bang. All right, redeem myself. Thanks for coming along, having a good chat.
Thanks, boys.
See ya.
Good next week.